Sup guys, it's desRow. I'm here today to do a Bronze 2 Master sponsored by ASUS. There's also a new promotion with ASUS that will be posted right after the show. If you buy any ASUS products, well, a few selected products, you can get a free hour of coaching. So, if you're looking for a new monitor or a new laptop or a new graphics card, and you buy an ASUS product, then you get a free hour of coaching with me, which is pretty cool. So we'll get started. Bronze 2 Master, we're going to be doing simple builds. We're in bronze right now, so until we're bronze, silver, and gold, the builds will be pretty simple. Everything's going to be explained from start to finish. And once we go up to plat or diamond, then I'll be giving out more fancy build orders, and we'll be picking up the pace. I don't have an APM counter. I might have that for the next show. This is going to be every Monday at 11 a.m. Eastern. That's 5 p.m. CET, and the VODs will be on youtube.com/desrowfighting. So let's get started with the options menu. Graphic, as long as you don't lag. If you have to put it on low, do it. Over here, not much to do. I like the Brood War music more than the StarCraft 2 music, at least for Protoss. You should turn this to 0. Otherwise, every time you enter a game, you're gonna go up. Your volume's gonna go up, and if you're on Skype with someone, it's not gonna be fun for them. And so, what's next? Mouse sensitivity. I usually disable it, but apparently it's been enabled for a while. I don't know if. Oh, I don't feel the difference. I guess 50% is. You should put 51. It's like an urban legend that it's more accurate. Here, mouse scroll, 70% is quite fast. Some people do lower. You shouldn't really be mouse scrolling. Yeah, I do 70%, but it's up to you. Here is the big thing. Team color, if I personally really dislike them. Control groups, I do unclickable. The flyer helper is always the show unit life bar. You always want that on because you need all the information you can get. Colorblind mode, if you're colorblind. Display experience points. A lot of people come to me and they're like, desRow, why do you get this? Is it not noobish? No, because if you're killing something that's borrowed, some units can borrow, the Widowmine can borrow, the Roaches, maybe sometimes they'll borrow Queens, they'll borrow their Swarmos. If you turn that on, then you can see when you kill it. Same goes for a Midovac that's flying away. You can definitely see if you killed it because it's going to display the experience. The enable simple comment card is usually enabled. Disable that. Show alerts is good. Show game timer is really important because when you scout, you want to know, like, okay, about this time he's got this much. And a lot of people don't look at the game timer. They don't understand it at first. And since we'll be in bronze, I'll be always talking about it. But it's something that really has to be displayed. And social, mature filter if you're under 18, or if you're letting your kid play. And enable players near you if you're in a big LAN party and you want to make some friends. And I really dislike the toast notification. It disturbs me greatly. Now the hotkeys, I've made a few modifications to mine. Follow center on current location, I do Alt, simply because it's very simple to do. The only thing it unbounds is like showing the health bars, but we already got that on always on. So here I'm doing everything, every F key, and for the last one I'm doing shift space and control space. And those basically is for my proxy panon, which these days I don't use all the time, but it's something you should always use. Proxy panon as Protoss is really important. Control groups, it's really hard. If you're in bronze, it's really hard to go up to 7. I don't use 8. but it's something you should force yourself, you know, try to go up to 6 at least, and then as time goes on, you want to be pushing yourself. So we're going to do them, and then the last few things I want to show you guys before we move on is this thing right here, the unit management for the zealots. So if you do this, right here, choose ability or AI target, and you put Z, it just makes your zealot so much quicker, and it really helps out. So do this, alright, desRow, and then we'll get started. So the hotkeys are done, the options are done. It's just an important thing. A lot of people, it looks daunting at first because there's so many options, so many hotkeys, but so the reason I change, I put Control tilde, I'm searching for a game right now. The reason I put Control tilde and I put Control Q, those are for my forges. This is for my harassing unit, this is for my forges, and I'll be doing a very very slow APM, and I'm not so sure why I'm playing Diamond. I don't know if the account is low bronze enough. Maybe he's playing on ranked. I'll have to ask him. Right. So you start the game. You want to hotkey your Nexus. That's the first thing. I like to hotkey a probe. That probe will be my scouting probe. It might be. Oh. Alright, I just want to fix the Twitch title for a second. Bronze to Master. Right. Let's keep going. So, some people in chat are asking, the thing to make the zealots walk in faster is choose ability or AI target, and you want to put Z, and what it does is it clicks for you, so it goes a lot quicker. So it just clicks for you. It's very nice. Alright, so you know, since you're in bronze, putting probes on the close patches is not your priority, but it's something you want to be conscious of. Fighting with your probes to make them mine on the close patches is a lot of APM. You're not going to be that fast. So it's something you have to think about right away. So we're playing a Terran. Some people will think like, you know, I always want to have my ramp walled off. Not really. Versus Zerg, sure, but not versus Terran. So we'll get the pan on. And like I was saying, the game starts. The sound is very loud. Oh. I lag every time I go in option menu. That's weird. Alright. So the game starts. You want to hotkey your Nexus, and I like to hotkey a probe just because it'll be easier to scout. So a lot of people don't do that, and that's something very important to do. So we'll do 13 gate, and you know you want to hotkey your probe, and you want a hotkey for it just because it's slower to just go on the minimap and try to grab him wherever he is. So you want to go back, you double tap your hotkeys. So when you double tap like this, it brings you to where you want to go. So I'm double tapping. And we'll be getting 15 gas. And every time you build something, you want to put it back. You don't have to go fancy like I do with a shift command for the mineral patches, but just, you know, build something, click it back. I could have clicked it straight without another shift command. Some people, you know, they'll try to build something and they'll do shift and then they'll go build. You don't want to mine before you build something. You just want to take the guy and go as quick as you can. So click there, press Y, build it. Shift back. Always shift back. Something that's it's an habit you have to make for yourself. So we're going to be, this is the 4th chrono. I was explaining some simple things, so I didn't cover so much the build order so far. We'll be going for 21 Nexus. we'll make a Zealot. The Zealot here is just, you know, in case he attacks us, because we don't know what's going on. So we're gonna scout him. The first game of each matchup will be very simple, safe builds, and then after that we're gonna simplify it even more. So making a Zealot, but the Zealot is not so useful because he's a melee unit, and all the Terran has to offer are range units. So we'll make the Mothership Core. So you see here, this guy, he's got 2 barracks, and he's got a gas, and he's got an engineering base. So he's got enough buildings that we have to be. He's got enough production buildings that we have to make sure we don't die. So we're gonna sacrifice a probe and just take the Watchtower. Watchtower is something you should always be thinking about. You know, if you don't know what's going on, so you want to send a unit. I'm gonna continue controlling probes, and like I said, I'm doing the camera locations here, but I don't want to use them too much because you're in bronze. You know, you're struggling to get that down. So one thing that really helps is rallying your gate onto another unit until it becomes a warp gate. That way the unit doesn't stay idle here. So but yeah, to go back to what I was talking, once you have 16 probes here, you want to rally to the natural. 16 is the most efficient amount. That's just the way it is. And we want to be getting a robo. The robo is for widow mines, the robo is for medevacs, and again, hotkeying the robo and rallying it before it's finished is really good. It's something you want to do. You want to create the habit as soon as you start playing. So warp gate's not finished, so we'll get another stalker, and we'll be going up to 3 gates because basically when you have one base, right, you have 16 probes, you can support 3 gates and a robo or 4 gates. And since we're making probes, you never want to stop making probes. You want to chrono probes. Since we never stop making probes, like now we're gonna have 16 soon. So we're gonna need to go up to 8 gates, 7 gates, but not now because we're still making probe, we're still making buildings, we're still making pylons. So we don't have enough money to go up to this many gates. So versus Terran, you know, they have a lot of Marines, and the Marines are units that do a lot of damage. So, but they're very weak to splash damage, and so Colossus is one of the best way to get rid of those Marines. It's the best way to deal a lot of damage and to fight back. So here we transform the gates. I have them on a hotkey. This is something that you don't always need to have on a hotkey. Like, I'll be okay if you don't have them hotkeyed, because you can use W. So I'm using W here to warp in. We'll get more pylons going. And the observer, try to hotkey it, you know. The hotkey you choose for your scouting probe. I use 6, because 6 is pretty far, so it's not something that I'm going to need all the time. 6 is the same as your scouting probe. That's pretty good. So here we see cloak. So we're going to need more observers. This is cloak. Like 90% of the time, this is cloak. We see a tech lab. Yeah, so Banshee with cloak. So what cloak does is it makes the Banshee invisible. So we're going to need an observer to go with it. And we're going to grab a forge and a Twilight Council. Now the forge will give us cannons, which will help versus the Banshees. And the Twilight Council is basically, it helps you upgrade your stalkers, your zealots. And so charge lots, zealots, you can, so we're going to make a zealot right now if you've never seen a zealot, which could be possible if you're watching this Rounds to Master. So a zealot has a charge ability, and you get that from the Twilight Council. And a zealot with charge ability, what it will do is that it's going to get close to the bio, and because he's got a tech lab on his factory, he's going to probably have tanks. And so if the zealots have charge, then they're going to do splash damage. He's going to splash his own Marines with his tank. Because the tanks do splash damage, the tanks are attacking the zealots are close to the bio, and so it does damage to the Marines, the bio unit. So we want to go up to 7 gates is a good number, and I'm gonna need more units. 3 stalkers to defend a Banshee is usually pretty good. The Banshee flew away, so we're gonna take those. And notice here how so notice here how when I'm clicking in a unit, I'm selecting all of them. It's because I'm pressing Control, and by Control clicking units, it's gonna take all the units that are in a certain area. It's gonna take all the units that are a certain area, like of that type. So, for example, here I can Control click Sentry, and it takes all the sentries. Then I can hold Shift, control the Stalkers, click the Zealot, click the Colossus, and then Control 1, and then I've created a hotkey for everything. So you want range for your Colossus, and so since the game is pretty late, you can afford a cannon per mineral line. This will help versus the potential Banshee. So we've got a tank here, we've got charge. Versus Terran, we've got charge, and you always want to be chrono boosting the upgrades. So once you have enough probes, you know, here we've got 22. That's enough for a third base. The money that we have is floating so much that, yeah, third base would be good. And so versus Terran, armor is the best because Marines do 6 damage. So Marines do 6 damage. A Zealot has 1 natural armor. And you see like the upgrade finish. So now I have 2 armor. I want to hotkey the Forge on Q. Alright. So you see now I have 2 armor. And with Guardian Shield, I give him 2 armor. And so with that, the Marine is going to do only 2 damage per shot to the Zealot. So it's going to be great. Here the Zealot trick, I'm just holding Z and it's clicking for me. Chronoing, oh, we've got the supply block. And spreading some pylons across the map for counterattack leader is great. Oh, and on to base I said 8 gates in a robo, or 7 gates in a robo, or 8 gates, and that's what we have, but we're gonna have the 3rd soon, and so we want to go up to at least 12 gates, and that goes for about every matchup. So that's 10 gates, and then we need 2 more right here, so that's 12 gates. So once we have that, it's going to be much easier to spend our money. Once you have a 3rd base, a 2nd forge is pretty good. That's the only matchup you do this. Most matchups you just stay on 1 forge. And you see here he's got a bunch of Marine, a bunch of Banshees. So we have enough Stalkers. If I get the Stalkers from the main, we have enough Stalkers that the Banshees will die. Maybe like a few more. And the rest, you know, Zealots are pretty good, especially with charge. Versus this kind of army, Blink is not necessary, but we can always get it. Keep chronoing the Colossus. He scans me. He sees it's a pretty big army. My extra gates are finished. Those observers were useful versus the Banshees, but once the Banshees are dead, you want to move them so they could see like a potential drop. Of course, you know, you're in bronze, your minimap awareness is not going to be the sharpest, but trying is half the battle in bronze, because it just takes you more time to get better. So put the Zealots in front by control clicking again. Oh, see, those weren't in my camera, so they didn't move. Just make a big box. We're going to wait for the probes. Make a big box, control 1. Every time you add some units, you want to be hotKeying them. What you can do is you can just box the new units and do shift 1. You see how I jumped from 38 to 42? And yeah, now we'll be attacking. Make like a pylon, like a few pylons to go across the map to support your attack is good. At higher levels, obviously, it might be a little bit of waste. And if you think you're not going to be quick enough to, like, usually, like, I'll move my army with a right click. So this right click right here, like, you see, like, the dot becomes red if I'm attacking, and the dot is green if I'm not attacking. So moving like this can be okay, but you have to be quick to attack move. So just attack moving everywhere you go to make sure you don't get caught off guard. And yeah, and then here the minerals fields are depleted, so we're gonna transfer that to the base, and we got a lot of money, so we're gonna expand. And you always want to make at least 2 pylon per new expand, so you can warp in and defend. And so now the battle Guardian Shield, and yeah, this guy didn't get so much production. He's got the PDD, which is nice. He's got some Vikings. Oh, and he's got a planetary fortress, which died. And just attack moving, making sure Guardian Shield is always active. It's just very, very effective way. So yeah, that's the first parent game that we have. Oh, we got some achievements. So if you have any questions, any build requests, I know we had some people ask for an Oracle Harass versus Zerg on Reddit. I'm not sure what else we have. I myself am struggling with Zerg, and I would love to see a couple builds. Immortal Sentry or any Immortal Centric all-in gateway heavy play, and 2 Robo Sentries and Stalkers. I don't know if I want to do an Immortal all-in for this show, because I'm really trying hard to explain everything. But that's definitely something that I could do another show, another week. So we have, so again, every time I get a new matchup, I want to do a simple build. So this is the first Protoss matchup, so we're going to do something very simple. And it's very hard to do something simple in PvP. It's a very active matchup. You know, you've probably heard of the 4-gate if you've played a little bit of StarCraft. If you haven't, a 4-gate is just making 4 gateways as quick as you can and rushing your opponent with just basic units. The 4-gate used to be very popular in Wings of Liberty because you didn't have the Mothership Core, and what else? You didn't have the Mothership Core that you could warp in above a cliff with a pylon on the low ground. You can't do that anymore. A pylon can warp down but cannot warp up. So here some people asked me earlier today when I was playing, why do you put the pylon behind? A lot of people will put their stuff here. In PvP, putting your first gate and your first pylons behind is good, because you know, if it's not a 4-gate, it might be a 3-gate, and you don't want your buildings to be snipeable very easily. But yeah, as the, you know, today's a very basic show slash talk, but I'll be, you know, next week I'll definitely crank it up a notch. Just really, you always want to put 3 on gas. Some build orders will require you to put 2, but that's usually when you have 2 gas, not just 1 gas. Which, it's PvP, you always want your second gas. Sometimes you want your second gas, well, most of the time, you want your second gas to be started before you build the cybernetic core. But for this one, we're just gonna do, you know, pylon, gate, gas, cyber core, second gas, and then you want to put 3 probes on this gas. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna do Stalker and then a Mothership Core. You want a quick Mothership Core because it's good for photon overcharge. It's gonna help you versus oracles. And again, you know, I've hotkeyed my probe, I've hotkeyed my gate, so I can just tap both. You always want to chrono the Mothership Core. Okay, so here I'm scouting. So I'm seeing a lot of chrono boosts. So, oh crap. Oh crap, we're getting cheesed. We're getting cheesed. I didn't scout inside my base. We're getting cheese, and the cheese he's doing is proxy 2 gate with a cybernetic core, as you can see, and he's just trying to make a lot of units before coming to attack me. So here we're gonna add the third gate. I'm trying to slow down my APM because I'm supposed to be in bronze, but so you wanna try to kite back the Zealot. We're gonna have to pull some probes here. So killing that Stalker and not losing any units is gonna make it harder for us. So I added 2 more gates, and I'm gonna produce before Warp Gate is over because I have no choice. Okay, so he's coming again, so I'm gonna pull back, and you see my Mothership Core is 5 energy away. So I'm gonna cast Photon Overcharge right here, and I'm gonna attack the Stalkers with it because I need to win the Stalker War. And the reason is, the more Stalkers I have, the better I can fight him. Because if he's doing an early rush like that, it's all about who has more Stalkers. And yeah, it was a disaster for him. And now Warp Gate finishes. We'll get a Robo in case his follow-up is to go for DTs. We'll try to steal his gas, warp in a few units, hotkey everything, and then go check out if he's still trying. Because sometimes they'll give up, but sometimes they'll keep going. And no, I think we got him. Just like that. Alright, so that was not the standard build I wanted to show in PvP. So if I get another PvP, we're gonna try to take it slow. I'm already playing a gold. Maybe that was just a one-off. Recently gold, I think. He joined this division in September. So he was silver before. Oh no, it's his first season. So maybe it's a new account. What about Wings of Liberty? Yeah, it is a new account, otherwise the Wings of Liberty option would be right here. Again, if you have any questions in chat, looking forward to answer what you guys have to ask. Cheese is 70% of the time at bronze, silver, and gold. Well, that's okay with me. Then I'll show you guys how to beat cheese. Okay. I'm playing a silver player now. So yeah, the build I want to show you guys is like Stalker, Mothership, Sentry, Robo. So with the Sentry, you can not die, and then based on the scouting, then we can adapt. Scouting in bronze, you know, it's hit or miss because you don't know what they're doing and they don't know what they're doing. So it's pretty wild. Okay. So to defend from a bad 2-gate like you just did, you want 3 gates and to win the Stalker War. Why not a Sentry to block the ramp? A Sentry to block the ramp only works versus 4-gate. It's just, it comes so quickly. Like the Zealot that he made, usually like you want to go even quicker with that Zealot to go harass. So in every matchup you want to do 13 gates, unless you're trying to do a Forge Expand build versus Zerg. 12 gate is only if you want to rush, and it's not very economical. So we want to be grabbing our gases, just like that. Alright, so you know, I'll do 2 gas. I feel like the 2 gas is like a little bit more complicated. Because you're gonna put 2 on each, which doesn't happen too often. You want to do 17 Panan. It doesn't happen too often. Like, it's like the only matchup that this sort of thing happens. 2 on each. 3 on each, it cuts down your mineral income too much, and that's not good. So when you're at 12, when you're at 13 on minerals, then you want to rally 1 on each. So that's a little bit fancy. If it's too fancy for you, just do 1 gas before the cyber core, and then add a 2nd gas after the cyber core, and just put 3 on each right away. It should be about the same, slightly about the same. So here again, Stalker, Mothership, and then we'll get a Sentry. Stalker, Mothership, Panan, or Stalker, Warp Gate, Panan, and then Mothership. Okay, so you see this guy, it's a basic mistake of just walling off like this. A lot of chrono boosts and a lot of gases, so could be a DT build. After the Sentry, after the Stalker, we get a Sentry. With the Mothership Core, you want to try to scout inside your base, you know. Oh, this could be a Twilight Council. We'll never know because he killed my thing. But we'll be getting a Robo. You want to go up to 20 probes. 20 probes is a good number, like until you have your expand. And 2 more gates. Chrono Warp Gate. So it's a 3-gate Robo. It's very standard, very plain build order. But with Photon Overcharge, you will defend Oracles. With the Robo, you will defend DTs. If it's Blink, you will make an Immortal, and you'll try to go Blink yourself. You go Blink yourself. That sounded funny. Because you know, an Immortal is not sustainable versus Blink. You know, if they have a lot of Blink Stalkers, eventually they can win the battle. So we'll make the Observer first, because we don't know what he's doing. We've got a Sentry to defend, we're going to have Warp Gate very soon. And we're going to scout with Hallucination. Now, Hallucination, there's a lot of hallucinated units you can make. You can't make Sentries, you can't make DTs, you can't make carriers, but you can make anything else. The fastest flying unit is a Phoenix. Another Panan. I think I missed the chrono boost on my gates. So we'll make the expand. Obviously, if he's pressuring you, you want to make a little bit more Stalkers and delay the expand. This map is a little bit special because you have your expand in the back of your base. And you see right now I'm at 21 workers. So I see no expand. What else do I see? I see that he might grab an expand. I see... Okay, so I see... Storm? I don't know if it's researching. So I see very weird things. You might make an Archon. Immortals, they do decent damage versus Archon. I see 3 gates and I don't see a lot of probes, so just making enough units should be good enough. And keep in mind, like, this is the first time I get a Protoss where we macro, so I'm just showing you guys a safe build. Okay, so you might not understand what I'm doing here. So since I was at 16 and this is gonna finish soon, I'm starting to long distance mine because, you know, on the next trip that they're doing, this is gonna be finished. And once you're at 16, like, you're not getting much more out of mining minerals here. So, you know, they're already getting ready to work here, which is great. So we're going to make another Immortal, and I think we might just go for an attack so we can get another build after this. Just because this guy really didn't have a lot of workers on his minerals, I know that my army, no matter what I do, will just be much, much bigger. So this is why I feel comfortable attacking. Plus I have the Mothership Core back at home if I have some issues. Now, Stalkers in PvP, you know, as the game goes on, you know, the mid game, the late game, they're not that good. But, you know, in lower leagues, so I'm going to counterattack. Because I know I have enough to defend. He's gonna storm the pros. That was really nice by him. He's gonna storm again. And I want to avoid that. Okay. And I want a Guardian Shield. And I can just win here. But that was a very nice attack. That's a funny build that he did. So we're gonna go straight for his income. And you don't want to like right click to kill something. You really want to like press A and then left click. Because if you misclick like I just did with the Zod, then you're gonna see your units go in a very goofy way. So I'm gonna kill this Nexus. I killed the Spawn. I'm gonna go chase the probes here. These last Templars have died. And the game's over. But yeah, his build was pretty creative, but going Templar on one base is one of the most expensive tech you can do. The Templar carries 200 gas, which is 4 Stalkers. The Storm is 200 gas and 200 minerals, which is another 4 Stalkers. And then 2 Templars is 300 gas, which is 6 Stalkers. So we're talking like 8... we're talking 14 Stalkers that he could have that is just gas. So it's a very expensive build what he did. But it was original and he killed a lot of probes. I could see this work at his, and you know, in Silver League. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in chat. This is Art of the Swarm. There was a mothership in the game. You gotta learn the creative Silver League builds to win WCS. You never know. Again, if you want to help me, you know what to do in chat. Alright, so another Protoss. This time we'll be a little bit more aggressive. I'll show you guys the 4 gates. Because one thing that someone in chat said earlier today, which was very smart, is to improve your mechanics. So your mechanics, a lot of people, you know, you'll hear them talk about mechanics, and you'll be, but what are mechanics? You know, people say about Koreans all the time, they really have good mechanics. Mechanics is basically you controlling the game. So with the keyboard, with the mouse, and how you control your units, how you macro, those are your mechanics, like how good you actually are with the mouse and the keyboard. So it's not you know, it's not the build orders, it's not the strategies, it's not you know, the counterattacks, the harass. Well, mechanics, you know, if you have good mechanics, you'll be able to harass well, and you'll be able to do all of those strategies and counterattacks well. But mechanics are just how you control the game. And so one way to really improve your mechanics is to put stress on it. So anytime you're defending a cheese, you really have to take it seriously, because the better you defend it, the more you're improving your mechanics. And the same goes for when you're cheesing. So a lot of people think cheese is dumb, but if you're doing a 4 gate, you have to micro your units somehow. If it's, sometimes it'll be, you know, a landslide, but a lot of other times it'll be a close battle. And so if you never cheese, if you never rush, then you're not gonna force yourself to be to be better. And so it's very easy to play a safe build and take it slow, and always take it slow and remain slow. So we're gonna do a 4 gate, and I'll be clicking a little bit more and explaining the thoughts of what you should be clicking at, what you should be clicking for. And you know, some people sometimes they'll click for nothing, and that can be okay for a while, just to get faster. Because you know, a bronze would be like this. You know, I don't even like, I'm scratching my head. I'm making probes, I'm grabbing a gas, but you're not as quick as if you had your second hand and you hotkeyed everything and so on. So here what we're going to do is we're going to do a 15 cyber core. We did 11 gates, so our gate is going to be faster. You know, I told you earlier you should always actually. Yeah. Okay, there you go. So you should always do 13 gate, right? That's what I told you earlier. But this is an 11 gate, so technically we're faster, and we'll be rushing him. Are we gonna have more units? Not always. If he does 2 gates, because that's a build I haven't shown you. 2 gates. So you're doing like a 3 stalker rush. If they're doing that, we're gonna have to have slightly better micro, and we're gonna have to identify it as well. So warp gate finishes, we chrono it, stalker, and we chrono it. So the rest of the chrono will go on warp gate, but we're going to chrono the first stalker. And here we scout. Here we want to go up to 16 probes as well. Here we scout. And we see a second gas, and we see a cyber core, and we don't see a second gate. So there's 2 different approaches to this build. If you see a second gate, you're gonna try to warp in away, like you're gonna try to warp in over here before you come in, because he's gonna have more units. But if you don't see a second gate, then you can just go straight to his base and be in his face. So there's the sneaky way and the in-your-face way, and because he didn't have a second gate, we'll be doing the in-your-face approach. We can even get a plan on, like, here's okay, and then up the ramp as well I could have done. So I'm rushing in. Where do I go? So the Zealot here, it's walled off. I don't want to get surrounded by probes, so we'll go for the gas. And I got surrounded by probes. So I put myself in the corner here. Only 2 probes could attack my Zealot. So it was a very good trade for me. And he delayed his units, and so this is what I was saying earlier. Like, sometimes it can be a very easy victory, but sometimes you'll have to micro, and you'll have to force yourself. Like, versus the Mothership Core, you can not take damage if you micro very well. You don't want to lose any units. So you see, like, he's gonna go for the Stalker. Well, he didn't go for the Stalker. If he went for the Stalker, you want to pull it back. And what I like to do is I like to put my Stalkers on 2, and then everything else on 1. So I don't micro the Zealots directly. I just let him go wild. Then you can always move it how you want. So he did end up adding a second gate over there, I believe, once he saw that I was rushing him, but it wasn't quick enough. And so it's the end of the road here for this guy. Go for the pylons. And then you can shift command like that too. On units, on buildings. So we're attacking the pylon, and then we're attacking the Nexus. Did he have something hidden over there? No. And that's the end of the road. So you have some cheese build, some macro builds. Let's hope for a Zerg. The build I did was an 11 gate. How do you defend the build you just did? There's 2 ways. There's a sentry you can do, like just mass sentry, you know, go up to 3, 4, 5 sentries. Or you can just get as many units as I have by doing, so you go 2 gates, so you do the 3 Stalker rush, and then you add a 3rd gate, and then you just never stop making units, and then eventually you'll have warp gate, and then you'll be able to defend, but the goal is just to have as many units as your opponent. And with the defender's advantage, you're defending, you're above your ramp, so you get the first shot on his units, and then you pull some probes if you have to, but you don't want to lose too many because, you know, he's got a lot of probes himself, your opponent, or me in that case. And so yeah, so we have a Terran here. I said most of the matchups you want to open 1 gas, but this is going to be one of those times where we're going to open 2 gas, and we're going to do a proxy oracle. Now it's a 3-player map, so it's a shot in the dark which base he has. what we're going to do is we're going to proxy the Oracle on the third pylon. So there's a few proxies you can do. You can do the proxy on the second pylon or on the third pylon. The second pylon, obviously, it's a quicker proxy, but it's a lot more risky on a 3-player map. So we'll do the third pylon. So the third pylon will be over here, basically. So proxy is something that's somewhere close on a different location than expected, I think is the definition. I'm not a dictionary here, but so on 15 we're gonna double gas. If you get Zerg, can you do a 7-gate robo build? Yes, I wanted to do that and Oracle macro build, but I don't know if we'll get a Zerg so far. It's not looking good. So we're gonna send a probe for the third pylon, and the goal with the proxy is to have the third pylon started by the time the cyber core is halfway done. A cybernetic core takes 50 seconds to build, and a pylon takes 25 seconds to build. So my goal here is, you know, I have the cyber core selected. My goal is to start the pylon at 25 seconds here. On the bottom, you see the selection. And I think we'll be good. It's not going to be over here like I wanted. We'll put it here. It's still a pretty good proxy location. It can go straight to here or there. I still don't know where he is. After I put down the Stargate, I'll be scouting with the probe to check where he is. So we'll make a Stargate and then a Stalker. The Stalker will help us support the attack if we want if we need to defend, if we want to go and attack a little bit more. What can I afford? I'm not gonna get Warp Gate now because I don't need it. Okay, so is he here? No, so he's over there. So it's the better proxy location. Because over here I would have, you know, it's not directly to his mineral line, unlike here. That's why here is a better proxy location. So the Stalker will go to his base. I can get a Warp Gate now. I just... Oh! So there's the Reaper. So we'll keep the Stalker at home for now. So I want to make 2 Oracles, and so I didn't want to be starved on gas or anything like that. Oh! So the Reaper got tickled. Doesn't want to die. I don't want to die either, buddy. Survival of the fittest. An Oracle takes 2 chrono boosts. It's 50 seconds. A chrono boost makes things a little bit faster. Alright. The Oracle comes out. Now the Oracle is tricky because to control it, oh, the Reaper's in my base. So you pop the flare, and you have to A-click and shift command. And he's losing a lot here, while I lost, I think, 1 probe. And I have the second Oracle coming. Oh, so there's a Widow Mine. So I have to be careful. We'll get some extra gates because the Widow Mine is carrying me. We'll, so the Widow Mine will kill an Oracle in 1 shot. So you're gonna drive around it. And can kill Marines as well. And okay. Right-clicking with the Oracle doesn't work as well. You're better to do Shift A and then left click, left click, left click, left click. I've had some issues where right-clicking with the Oracle, like first of all, you can misclick on a probe, then your Oracle is going to move for nothing. And so always press A and then left click. It's more accurate. And yeah. Alright, so we've got another win here. Let's hope for a Zerg. Oh yes, there's a giveaway, I forgot. There's going to be a Art of the Swarm giveaway, I completely forgot. All you're going to have to do is be in chat after the show. And I'll be giving a copy of Art of the Swarm. I'll be doing this for every show. You know, if you want to give the game away to a friend, if you want a second account. It doesn't come with Wings of Liberty, so they'll have to buy that, you'll have to buy that, but, you know, Art of the Swarm's, what, 20 bucks these days? So, yeah. Yeah, so if I say something like 15 gate or 15 gas, it means like on 15 supply is when you want to be building something. So the supply and the game timer is things that you want to be looking at quite often. Heart of the Swarm. Come on, guys. It's hard to be French with the H's. Alright, so let's hope he's a Zerg. Please, Zerg. Sweet. So, we're gonna do the Oracle. Actually, no, we'll do very basic. The Oracle is a bit too fancy. So far I've shown one safe build and one aggressive build per matchup, but we haven't done a safe build. And I feel like a safe build, you know, 7 gate with a robo, you know, 4 or 5 gates with a robo and you take a third is really the safest build you can do. A lot of people, you know, it's in this build that I'm about to show you doesn't really work all that well when you get up to like Diamond or Masters, but until then, I mean, even then, the build is as good as your force fields will be. And I know I've coached so many Produces that tell me like, oh, I haven't used force fields yet, they scare me. I haven't used sentries yet, they scare me. And this build, you know, it forces you to do that. So this guy's got a gas. It's a little bit weird that he's opening gas first like this. So we're opening Forge Expand. So this is the first time we're putting a building so far away from the minerals. We scouted right after the Panon. This is also the first time so far this episode that we've scouted with the probe that's the first probe on 9. Usually we scout after the gateway on 13 supply. So yeah, 16 Forge or 16 Nexus. Center it. Always hotkey it as soon as you build something. Hotkey it and set up the rally point. That goes for robotics facility with the observer and so on. So we're doing 16 Nexus, 16 Forge. Now, the Forge is not a gate. You know, we're not going to get units as quickly. But we'll get a cannon which will help us be defensive. Right, so this probe is going to have to run away. This probe will die, by the way. When there's 2 lanes, usually your probe is guaranteed to die, so we can wish him farewell. He wanted to be loved, but not in this game. So we're getting the cannon. The cannon, you don't want it too far, because then you're not going to be able to protect your buildings, but you don't want it too close. So I've sort of went halfway. Like, I could have put the cannon here, but then the Spanon would have been exposed. So I had to cancel a probe, and sometimes you'll have to wall off like this. Put a gate to prevent the Zerg from running in. That's actually something that, oh, this guy's going all out, but he's backing off. But with the speed that he's got, oh, what the hell? That's a low position. How is this even possible? So we're gonna have to chrono the. We're gonna have to fight off the. I don't even understand. Like, I guess my probe has been hitting the gym or something. I reposition it and now it's okay. He's gonna kill this probe, possibly. Yeah, I think he tried an all-in and it didn't work. A lot of people, you know, even on Flat League, will struggle with an early Zergling all-in like this. So it's not something uncommon for sure. So we're gonna chrono probes. We're gonna go into sentries, +1 weapon. Alright, just like that. 16 probes. I want to get another pylon because at 36, and then as soon as I have 100 gas, I'm going to be going for the Mothership Core. And the nice thing about the Mothership Core, because you know, like right there, like we don't have any vision, we don't have any map control, we don't have anything. But with the Mothership Core, I'll get some map vision. You know, if there's a baneling, I can shoot it down. If there's more lings waiting, if there's roaches, the Mothership Core is always the first thing you want to make most of the time, unless you're going for a quick Stargate. And then in which case it's okay to delay the Mothership Core because you'll be, you know, scouting with a Phoenix, an Oracle, but usually rule of thumb is always get this very quickly. So I see a few guys in chat saying hi to me. I'm trying to be as educational as possible, so if you have questions, ask those, and then I'll greet you guys later after the show. So, so we've got some pylon. So I'm making sure that, you know, always have one pylon building is usually a pretty good rule of thumb when you're macroing. And then you want to go up to 4 gates. Why 4? Again, that's how much production you get on one base. 4 gate, and then the Robo. The Robo will help you with an observer versus Zerg. Having an observer is really good for knowing what he's making. You know, you put your observer here, and then you can see every once in a while, like, ah, he's making this, ah, he's making that. Cybercore, the Warp Gate tech is going to finish soon, so we're not going to make any units out of the gates. We're going to wait for gates to be able to be transformed, and then we're going to get the Twi Console. Because we want to continue to upgrade. So PvP and PvZ, you always want to focus on +1 weapon, and then as soon as the level 1 weapon, the ground weapons level 1 is about to be finished, as soon as it's about to be finished, you want to have your Twi Console ready so you can start the +2 without any downtime. So so we've made a bunch of sentries. We have a Zealot. You always want to leave a Zealot at your wall because you never know what will happen. So I've remade a Zealot. I need some more pylons. We're making the 3rd base. And then we're going to make a wall of gateways. A wall of gates versus Zerg is always good. You want to make an Immortal. You want to make +2. Blink. So I know I'm doing a lot of things at once. So +2, Blink, Immortals. It's like the core of your army versus Zerg. It's just a very strong army. It has a lot of potential. He's creeping in, so we're going to try to kill him. But I don't think we'll succeed. Yeah, we're not going to succeed. So, wall of gates. Like this. This is something you want to do versus Zerg very often. Not always. And, you know, as you're getting better, like Plat, Diamond, Masters, you're not always going to do this. It really depends from game to game, but it's something good to do. Like, the Zerglings, they're not going to be able to run around your 3rd base and kill it. It'll buy time versus some roaches, it'll buy time versus some hydras. And then, yeah, here what I'm chrono boosting is, so, okay. So here what I'm chrono boosting is my Forge upgrade, my Robo units, my Twilight upgrades, and then I'm just making probes one by one, and I want to go up to 16. So it's a total of 66 probes. This is the 3-base economy that every Protoss wish for. And at this stage of the game, you want to be in between your 3rd and your natural. Leaving a pylon wherever you're chilling is usually good, so you can warp in close to the battle if he were to attack you right now. So with this observer, I see a couple queens, a couple spine crawlers, making sure it's not a spore. I don't see a gas. We're going to scout with hallucination. Try to figure out what he's doing. You know, I don't see a lair right now, so I don't have to be afraid of Mutas, because Mutas is one of the biggest threats for Protoss. A War Prism is good for harassing, and a lot of people like Zealots versus Zerg, but they're not that good. You know, they mostly have a lot of range units. They'll be good to defend Zerglings, but as the game goes on, Zealots are not that good. But if you want to make them good again, what you want to do is you want to make a War Prism, send it to his base, and then get charge. Then you'll be able to kill queens quickly, you'll be able to kill some drones, you'll be able to harass. But Zealots in your main army composition, unless you're fighting like Zerglings and Ultralisk, Zealots are not that good. So I have 3 Immortals. The follow-up is a Colossus most of the time. That's if he's not going Mutas. But we haven't seen a lair from him, so we know Mutas are not a threat. And then because you're on 3 base economy, 7 gates is not enough. You want to go up to 10, possibly 12, and possibly a second robo. Sometimes you'll be wanting to make 2 Colossus at a time. Those times are versus Swarmos mostly, or when you're gearing up for a 4th base. When you're gearing up for a 4th base, 2 Colossus, 2 robos is a good amount. So I'm getting charge, I'm getting +3. Oh, he was ready for me. We should have attacked at the front first to draw his attention, and then flying the Warp Prism, which I think is what I will create here in a second. I don't have any pylons to reinforce my push, so a little bit sloppy for me. Make the Colossus, make range. The Queen was there. The Lynx moved to the front. We've got some force field. Move in the Warp Prism, transform him, and he's making some static defense, which is not a bad thing. My gates, my 12 gates total, are being made. Will the Lynx go back? I have really good upgrades, so his Lynx should not be able to do anything. It's pulling the drones, it's a desperate move. We're gonna move in. Charge is finished. I'm supply block. That's not very good. Force, if you're facing... Oh, that's a very nice counterattack. If you're facing Lynx, in that situation, if you're facing Lynx, force field on top of your units. If you don't have any Zealots, like force field on top of your units so the Stalkers cannot be attacked by the Lynx. That's something you can do. And yeah, this gold player went down. Explained a lot of things this session, and it's been an hour. So far, we're gonna look at the match history. So far, I've won a total of 7 games. We started with well, no, the guy left right away. We started with PvP. Hold on, it'll be easier for me to go on the replay. Okay, so this guy left. So we started with Protoss versus Terran. I got Colossus, I got Charge, I got some extra observers because I saw Banshee. I saw a tech lab on the starport in the factory, so I knew it was tanks and Banshee. We defended, we went to 3 base. After that, we had a PvP where someone cheesed me. I microed and I photon overcharged, and it made me win. Then we had a PvP where we had someone try to storm, like he did a storm push on 1 base. It was a little bit weird, but we defended. I showed a very standard build order, 3 gate 1 robo. It's very good, like from bronze to plat. It's a very, very good build order. Then I showed, after that we had a PvP where I showed how to 4 gate. I explained the sneaky way and the in-your-face way of doing it, because depending on what your opponent's doing, you want to adapt. A 4 gate, a rush build really helps you improve your micro. It forces you to be better. After that, we had a turn where I did a cheese build, since we had a macro build as the first game. The cheese build was a proxy. Again, a proxy is when you put a building that's not inside your base, you put it somewhere on the map. We did a proxy Stargate on the 3rd pylon, and we killed every single unit he had except the 2 Widow Mines with 2 Oracles. And then the last build you guys just saw was a very standard 4 gate, 1 robo, and then you go into taking a 3rd, and we had the Twilight, we had Blink, we had Forge upgrades, we almost had +3 weapon, and then a couple of Immortals, and then after that, depending on if there's Hydras, you want to go up to Colossus, you might want to go up to Stargate, you just always want to scout him, and then explain how, you know, Zealots are not good in your main army versus Zerg, because they mostly have range units, and you know, Zealots can be good versus Hydras, but with charge, but they really struggle versus Roaches, because Roaches are really beefy. I think they have 125 or 145 HP, and that's just too much. The Roaches do a lot of damage, and the Zealots are just gonna melt. So, but Zealots are good once you get charge, and once you get a Warp Prism, they become good again. And Zealots are good because sometimes you'll be, you know, spending gas to tech, you know, Colossus, Stargates, and so you're not going to have a lot of gas to make Stalkers and so on. And in PvZ, you know, you can max out on how many Stalkers you want. They're always good until you start facing Ultralisk. Then you want to be careful, and you need your Immortals. So we covered a lot of simple things in the first episode. Next week, we'll try to crank it up a notch, do a little bit more fancy stuff. This is a show that I'm going to be running every Monday